In this module, we will give you a brief introduction to Lean. First, we will answer the question, what is Lean? Next, we will define the principles and tools of the Toyota production system. And finally, we will talk about the benefits of Lean transformation. James Womack was the person who coined the term Lean in the book The Machine That Changed the World, which was a study of the automotive industry. The term Lean was used to describe the Toyota production system because Toyota was able to develop and build better quality automobiles faster than their competitors. James Womack defines Lean as a systematic approach to identifying and eliminating waste through continuous improvement by flowing the product at the pull of the customer in pursuit of perfection. Throughout this training program, we will talk about the principles and tools that will help you transform your organization and how you can implement those tools and principles. Let's briefly cover where Lean came from and the history of Lean. Taiichi Ohno, who was a chief engineer at Toyota, was faced with the following situation just after World War II. Toyota had very little money, a very small market, productivity 1/10 that of Detroit, and production requirements less than 1/100th of Ford. He was asked to catch up with Detroit in 3 years, in terms of productivity, that is. After studying Ford for years, he created a manufacturing system that focused on reducing cost by eliminating waste. Hence, the Toyota production system was born. The Toyota production system is often depicted as a house because it is a structural system rather than simply a set of tools. Now let's take a closer look at this system. We'll begin with the goal. The goal of Lean, or the Toyota production system, is to create the highest quality products at the lowest cost with the shortest lead time to the customer while creating a safe work environment with high employee morale. And these goals are upheld by 2 pillars. The first pillar is just in time, which means providing the next downstream customer with what they need in the quantity that they need it and at the point in time in which they need it. We use several tools and principles to achieve just in time. We use continuous flow or one-piece flow, moving the product from one value-added step to the next with no delay in between steps. We set our production rate equal to takt time, which is the heartbeat of the customer. We use pull systems to build and provide only what the customer needs when they signal for it. And we use quick changeover to become more flexible at building what the customer needs when they need it. The next pillar is called quality at the source. This pillar represents the concept that we never knowingly pass a defective product to our next downstream customer. Rather, we prevent this from happening by implementing tools like line stop, which empowers operators to stop the line and address a problem when it occurs. Visual controls to identify problems and prevent problems. Mistake proofing to prevent errors from occurring. And-on systems, which are light and audible systems to alert us of errors. And we employ the concept of the 5 whys, continually asking the question why until we get to the root cause of the problem, rather than addressing the symptoms of problems. At the base of the Toyota production system, we have operational stability. To create and maintain stable processes, we employ standardized work, which measures or ensures that our process is consistent and able to meet the needs of the customer. We employ preventive maintenance, or TPM, total productive maintenance, to ensure that our equipment is reliable. And we implement 5S to help organize and standardize our operations. Finally, we employ the concept of hijunka, or leveling, to level our production activities and ensure a smooth flow of production from beginning to end. Finally, we have the centerpiece of the Toyota production system, and that is the people involved. Toyota involves every employee in its efforts to continuously improve, and it trains its employees in order to do this. James Womack and Daniel Jones wrote the book Lean Thinking back in 1996 to further describe Lean. In it, they identify 5 principles of Lean. The first principle is specify value. Value is what the customer is willing to pay for. We need to understand what the customer needs and values first. The second principle is identify and map the value stream. We need to identify the value streams, all of the actions that are required to deliver our products or services to the customer, and then map those value streams to identify waste and the sources of waste. Next, we create continuous or one-piece flow. We eliminate delays from our processes. Now, in manufacturing, this means eliminating work in process inventory and moving the product from one step to the next with no delay. We then employ the concept of pull. Every point in our process has a customer. We create a system that allows us to only make what the next downstream customer needs or has asked for. And finally, we pursue perfection. We continually look for ways to eliminate waste and improve quality. Let's take another perspective on lean. Imagine the timeline that begins with the customer placing an order and ends with the customer paying for that order. That timeline includes things like purchasing raw materials, manufacturing, planning, engineering, shipping, customer service, really all of the processes necessary to deliver the product or service. Now that timeline includes value creating time, time that you are transforming the product in such a way that the customer is willing to pay for it, and it includes non-value creating time, time in which no value is being added to the product. Now this represents the time in which the product is generally waiting. Taiichi Ohno described the Toyota production system this way. All we are doing is looking at the timeline from the moment the customer gives us an order to the point at which we collect the cash. And we're reducing that timeline by removing non-value added wastes. This is really the essence of lean in the Toyota production system. Now, what happens when we apply lean principles to our processes and to our organization? Applying lean principles really creates the following types of improvements, if we had to boil it down to just a few. First of all, shorter lead time to customers and faster production lead times or cycle times. Net decreases in inventory, which frees up cash that can be used to fuel growth and pay down company debt. Productivity growth, which increases our capacity to build and lowers our per unit cost. And quality improvements, which lowers cost and attracts additional business.